Hey, what's up? It's Genesis and I hope you're doing well. In this video I'm going to be breaking down Unknown Number from my AB release, 1 Million Tears, and Unknown Number released through SHUTTLE Recordings. If you want stems to this project, I'll be putting them in my Patreon, link in the description. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. This project file was first made in 2022 and I finished it, I don't know when, like ages ago. It only got released recently because I didn't really find any other homes for it to go to, but by the blessing of SHUTTLE Recordings, it is now released. So, I need to quickly redirect some of these files. Let's start with what I think is the most interesting in the intro, which is this guy right here. This layer here. I made this metallic, scrapey kind of atmosphere with a somatic string loop. This is what it sounds like without all the effects. And then this is what it sounds like without all this warping and stretching and stuff. First of all, I warped it so it fit the tempo. And then I transposed it really high and put it on texture mode and put the grain size and flux at the max. So you get this nice stuttery texture. And from there, I got an OTT to squash it. Frequency shifter to make it nice and metallic and screechy. And you can already start to hear how it's taking shape. Quick EQ to cut all those lows, and another one to accentuate the highs. And a bit of reverb to give it some room. Nice. In this intro I also have this analog synth here. It's playing a cluster of F, F sharp, and G for that nice dissonance. I'll turn off all these effects real quick as well. This is what it sounds like without all the effects. It's two saws, one of them is detuned very, very slightly, and it's going through what it sounds like a bandpass filter. Yeah, going through a bandpass filter with quite a bit of resonance, and it has an envelope which quickly decays and stays there. And the nice wishy-washy blur comes from this washout rack, which you can get free on my website, link down there. Nice. So that's that there. Plenty of effects. You already know what the deal is with effects and stuff. I've got this little thing here acting like a siren. Again, using that washout rack. I've also got some frequency shifters and grain delays to transform it from this to this harmonically rich siren. Lovely stuff. I also made this kind of phone calling sound here. Almost sounds like was it Metal Gear Solid? I'll turn off the washout rack again. This is what it sounds like on its own. It is a sine wave playing at, I think, the key of the song, which is F sharp. It's got an LFO. This LFO is modulating the pitch. This also is pitched up by a multiplier of 9, so it is the frequency of F sharp 3 in hertz multiplied by 9 to get this main frequency, then modulated by an LFO. There's another oscillator here, FMing the first one, and it's getting this nice lower tone. Again, it's also just another sine wave, but instead of multiplying the frequency of F sharp 3 by 9, it's being multiplied by 3, and this is FMing the first oscillator. I don't think I was using the screen delay. No, I wasn't. And then some washout rack, of course, for that room. And I have me saying hello.
Hello.
I'll turn off all the effects real quick. And here is
Hello.
how it sounds like without the effects, without the warping.
Hello.
And then without the pitching.
Hello.
Yeah, pitch it up, of course. And time it.
Hello.
And I wanted that to go a little bit longer.
Hello?
And also change the performance a bit. A bit of drive.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
For that low quality speaker kind of sound, and then putting another EQ to help accentuate that.
Hello? Hello?
Nice. And a compressor to tame the dynamics a little bit.
Hello?
What else do I have in the intro? I have this break. The good old think break. Nice and simple. I also have a hi-hat. And again, using washout rack to give it some room. I have this nice kick roll. And over here I have it pitched up really high from the very start. I think, yeah, up like 4 octaves here. Slowly pitching it down to the root pitch. And I have it going through a washout rack again as a transitional thing. Nice. And I also have an introduction of the main bass from the drop, slowly creeping in here. I'll talk about the bass later. And it cuts off right there to give some room for the those two. Alright, let's start at the drop with the drums, and these are the drums all by themselves. Alright, we have these main drums here. A nice steppy loop. For the kick, I have this kick here, kick 12, as the low end of the kick, being layered with this synth wavy kick, but only the transient. So I get a nice little bit more distorted kind of transient at the start. And it's being EQ'd quite a bit. A boost at 100 for more thumpiness, and a shelf boost from 800 Hz onwards to accentuate the transient a little bit more. We have the main snare, the main clap. It's a layering of a techno clap with a snappy snare. Nice, nice. It's being high cut quite a bit, just so it can leave some room for the basses, and also to keep that nice snappy transient. We have this tambourine going through some room reverb. We have the main hi-hat from my drum bombs kit, which you can get linked down there up here. And I also have another hi-hat, again from the same drum kit. I also have this drum break here. It is a drum break that I chopped. I have going through a low cut to leave room for the kick drum. Drum bus to, you know, boost that thing up quite a bit. I have this multi-band dynamics acting as like a soft gate, but for each different frequency band, and it's going through it very, very slightly. So what this is doing is that it's taking each of these frequencies and pulling them down just a little bit. So it's making the quieter parts even quieter. The reason why I do this is because sometimes some samples have quite a bit of reverb in them, and I want them to be a little bit snappier. Or even if drums have really long tails and I want them to be snappier, I do some soft gating, or what I call is soft gating. I'll use multiband dynamics for it because it's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. I mean, you can kind of hear the difference here if I focus on this middle band. And I turn it off. You can hear that the drums have more room to breathe there, but that's not what I wanted, so I gated them a little bit. Another low cut, but even harsher. I don't know why I didn't really do it here, but I don't know. Oh yeah, it's because I wanted the crunch going through the drum bus first before getting the cut out. No flanger. I guess some surgical EQ here. Oh yeah, you can hear that ring. I have some dampening at almost 5k. and some sidechain coming from the main drums, which is triggered from this sidechain trigger embedded with the drum rack. You can see a more detailed tutorial on how I made this kind of triggering system in this video over here, link down there, and you can also get this rack in the description of that video as well. I have these crashes to accent the downbeat of each, let's say 4 bars I guess. This is just to make sure that these beats have a very strong impact, and I didn't want it to be, you know, a long stretch, because to me that loses impact. I only wanted it to be like the first kick hit to give that impact, so there's that. I have a string loop being used as shakers. I'll turn off all the effects real quick. It's the same string loop, again going through the same thing as the intro, but it is pitched up only 2 octaves this time. I have 3 frequency shifters. They're mainly being used to get that nice high end. I'm not really caring about the low end here. I'm just trying to get that nice crispy high end from these frequency shifters. From that I do a low cut to accentuate that. And then I have a shaper, which is tied to... Please don't crash. Oh well, nice. Okay, I gotta be really careful showing this this next part, because whenever I do, it crashes my my Ableton each time. There we go. Yeah, I have a shaper, which is a Maxwell Live device, going through a volume macro. It's then going through some room reverb again, putting it in space, OTT, beef it up, another frequency shifter, just to get some, you know, crispier high end, EQ that out, and then a compressor for a sidechain trigger. Lovely. I also have this warping click loop that I made a long while ago. I forgot how I made it, but I did. And I have a delay going through that. And I have this drum fill for that section right there. I have some rides here on the second half of this first half, I guess, of the drop. I guess second quarter, yeah, second quarter of the drop. And I have it panning left and right a little bit, just to give some stereo width. And before all that, actually, I have a frequency shifter, pitching it down for a darker cymbal sound, flanger, to give it the initial stereo width, EQ out that low end, and also tame that volume down, and then the auto pan as the left-right spread. On the breakdown section, I have it sound like this. So over here, I take the snare from the layered break before, stretch it out, and I do some manual echoing, because it's more of an old school technique where you use just regular samples and make a manual echo by reducing the volume with each sample. And I stretch it out as well to give it more of that old school style time stretch, which is very, very nice. I also carry out the ride cymbals to keep that motif going and keep the breakdown session from being too low of energy. Everything else from this bottom part stays the same. This time, I like to add some reverses to make it more interesting. Same kick fill and everything. On the second half of this drop, I have, for the drums, I have a drum pattern switch up. So instead of this boom ba boom boom ba boom da 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 da, I have this doom da 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 da. It reminds me more of like some old school jungle, but I'm programming it instead of chopping drum breaks. And it gives me more of like a steppy feel, and I really like that. And of course I layered it with the drum break down there. Everything else stays the same, but except it's just the main drums that change. And let's get onto the basses, which is probably what you're waiting for. And let's start with this first section right here. Distill. Whoa. It starts off with serum. I'll turn off all the effects. And here's what the serum patch sounds like. There's nothing on the effects over here as well. So right now I have a very low octave, I don't know what you call this. I think like it's a mix between a square and a saw. It's playing at an octave below the sub frequency, so I'm getting that nice growl from the high end, which is what I'm after. And I'm using an envelope here to control the FM from B and the filter. And this is the FM carrier signal here. It is 4 octaves higher than the first oscillator, and it's pretty much just a sine wave. And you get this nice bark. Some saturator to drive that thing, just to give it a bit more bark. EQ to cut out the low end. And a washout rack to give it some nice wishy-washy smudge. Lovely. I also have these little fillers here. Right there. This is the first fill. This is what it sounds like without any effects here. And pretty much what it is a sub being FM just a little bit, just to get a few more harmonics, make it sound more like saw-ish sub. And then FM from an octave higher, again for more harmonics. And then the final thing which tops it all off, this 10 octaves higher oscillator FMing all of these at once. And it is a linear routing, so this signal is being FM by this, which is being FM by this, which is being FM by this. So you get this nice buzz. Frequency shifter, pitch it up, and now we have that nice undertone with a bit of a buzzy top. Auto pan for that nice left-right tremolo, and EQ to get that nice crunch. I also have some other fills like this this castanet fill. I don't know why it's in the basis group, but it is. I also have this fill that I made from 808. And this is one of my favorite ways to make fills and growls. And essentially what you do is you get an 808 which has some nice harmonics in it. Like this one. It's got a nice, I think it's a third harmonic I can hear. Around there. And of course I pitch it up to fit the key. And I have this chain right here. I have the dry signal just going straight through, and I have this affected signal to get some nice high end. I don't know if I needed this at all, because I think I filtered it out later on. I have this EQ to control the low mids of this bass. Even though I really like that harmonic, pushing it later makes it way too loud, so I you know, cut it just a little bit there. And then this is the filter. That's where the movement comes in, and I guess I didn't really need that thing there. It was probably just how I started it, so it is what it is. The drive creates that nice growl. Chorus for that movement. EQ to make the sides a bit more controlled, and get rid of that sub phaser, supporting the growl a bit more, and a high EQ peak right here, and then the drive again to accentuate that growl. That's where it is. And then EQ, top it all off, a bit more high end, and then a compressor to tame that dynamics. I also got this fill in the same way, this one as well, and then I also have this layer right here. It's very slight, but it's mainly like a layer to the sub. It's made using wavetable. I'll turn off all the effects real quick. So this is what the layer sounds like by itself. Already pretty cool. I have this square wave kind of thing going on, with a high pass notch filter sweeping down. And I think I'm using an envelope here for that. Yes, I am. Here's the matrix. It's just only that thing that's moving it. I also have another one, just just a regular square. But that also accentuates that filter movement a bit more. And I have a sub. And the reason for this is just because when I distort it later, it adds more to that crunch. I have unison going on shimmer mode. It's my favorite mode because it has, in my opinion, the most natural sounding stereo width. 4 voices, 31%, unison spread. I also have this EQ here. Again, boosting that low end a bit more so it can hit that drive on the saturator. Nice. And then a quick side band pass. I have this Decagon rack, which is pretty much like my version of disperser. Again, you can also get this link down there for free. And you can hear how it's spreading out some of those frequencies pretty nicely. EQ to shape it a bit more. Phaser. Change the tone of that a bit more. Drive again. Get more of that grit, and then top it all off with a band pass. And a gain reduction here to tame it a little bit, and some room reverb. That's how it sounds like with the sub. And the sub is from Operator. I have the sub with a bit of an attack and the third harmonic boosted up a little bit to give it a bit of beef. And some erosion for that nice high end. Saturated for more beef. And an auto pan, which gets automated for the breakdown sections. The pitch bend is coming from here. And have a slight pitch bend for some movement. And on each other clip here, I have the initial pitch bend hitch down a lot further than the first one. This one's mainly to provide impact. The next one's just to provide some nice movement. Again, I have another one of these string loops being used, just to further emphasize that. Creepy atmosphere. I also have this master chain, and I have a video about this, again linked down here, and you can also get this master chain for free on my website in the description of the video I just mentioned as well. Sounds pretty dynamic at first. I have a tape emulator here. Just for a bit of grit, a little bit of glue here. A little bit of warmth. I also have this this section over here, giving it some more high end. Brighten it up a little bit. And I also have this drive, this saturator, just making it a teensy bit louder. That's pretty much this master chain. But yeah, I think that's this project file done actually. Yeah, that's everything. 26 tracks only, including a few groups. But yeah, that's a nice, simple banger, a simple drum bass roller. And as I said before, you can get the stems for this on the Patreon, link down there. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay creative. See you in a bit.